Marla Thomas.
Wow.
Yeah, I know that's a setup.
Free to be you and me, indeed.
So, here we go. So this film seems like the perfect storm. The talent in front of the camera, behind the camera, the moment in America, like we need to see this movie. Maybe can you tell us a little bit about how, has this been germinating for a while? I mean, I know Nick wrote the film, but this isn't just overnight. I mean, these things take time.
Yeah, Nick and I co-wrote it. It started about 5 years ago when we started the writing process, and we brought it to Universal about a year after that. Judd Apatow came on board. And yeah, I mean, every movie goes through a long writing process. We were a bit delayed because of COVID also. We were supposed to shoot in 2020. That got delayed by over a year. But we're excited to be here. You know, there is a lot going on in the world politically regarding LGBTQ folks, and that's important to acknowledge, of course. But honestly, when we sat down, we never said we want to write a political movie or a historic movie. It's ultimately a meeting of the minds between Judd Apatow's sensibility and my sensibility. He's made some of the funniest movies of all time, Bridesmaids and Knocked Up and 40-Year-Old Virgin. And we wanted to do a movie that was that funny, but that happened to be about a gay couple and LGBTQ people, which really hasn't happened very much before.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's amazing to me, sort of the rogues gallery of folks that show up in this film.
Yeah,
and
they're hilarious.
And that's clearly, some of that is the Apatow connection, right? Because if Judd calls, then they say, absolutely, I'm going to do that. What was that like, having all that sort of that dynamic happen?
Yeah, we have some really fun celebrity cameos in the movie, and it's great. I mean, it's awesome. Like, this is a big movie. We want to give people like an epic experience and a surprising experience. The whole cast, other than some celebrity cameos, is openly LGBTQ. And one of the fun things is that I think one thing we associate with Judd Apatow movies and Nick Stoller movies is that they're introducing a lot of fresh comedic actors to the world that we haven't seen before. People didn't know Seth Rogen before Knocked Up. They didn't know Melissa McCarthy before Bridesmaids. He gave Amy Schumer her first big movie, and he's done that for so many people. And this is the same idea, except for LGBTQ actors who are hilarious but have never gotten the opportunities to really shine in a big movie like this.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the chemistry between you two guys. I mean, it just felt so authentic and so sort of just delightful. Was that something that happened right away? Was there a big process of sort of finding the right person to do that? Or
we hate each other, and it's all acting.
Oh my God, yeah.
Sorry, do you want to go?
Oh, I was going to make another joke from a different angle. I was going to say we spent a year living together.
Yes.
No, we didn't.
It was just sex, though.
It was just sex.
Personality-wise,
No talking.
we do not get along.
We use the words from the... Anyway, no, I mean, I knew of Billy before. I think he knew of me, but I went in and auditioned, and the first words I said to him were words from the script. And it was that really fortunate thing where I understood the character, and I think I understood the relationship very, very well. And we got to know each other during the filming, which is a really wonderful and rare thing. So we were discovering each other, our sensibilities, our sense of humor, what makes us tick, and I think that shows up a lot in the movie.
Yeah.
And I think one of the other things that I walked away from the film thinking was, I want to go to that museum.
Yeah, right? Me too.
I mean, it's so funny because there's a legitimate amount of things that I think need to be sort of made more publicly aware, but also just there's that tongue-in-cheek sensibility that, I mean, like, can we start a campaign to build this museum?
Yes, let's.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, I live in New York City. There's museums for everything. There's literally a museum about trains, but there's no major museum about LGBTQ people and our history.
Well, trains are very important.
Yes, that's true. Representation matters for trains,
exactly.
above all. I love transportation.
There's diesel, electric.
So much to talk
So
about.
much.
But I think it's so odd that, you know, in a big metropolis like New York, we don't have a major LGBTQ plus history museum. Ironically, I think they're in the early stages of making one. And it's long overdue. I know there's one that is about to open or just opened in Britain, Queer Britain. There is one in Berlin, I believe. But in America, we don't teach people LGBTQ history. We don't learn about ourselves as gay people. Straight people don't learn about our contributions to history from the beginning of time, since we've obviously existed as long as there have been humans. And we do manage to sort of poke fun at each other in the movie as well, which is also important. But it's a real issue that we don't know anything about LGBTQ folks.
And honestly, there are parts in 2022 of the country where we're actually even trying to remove further conversations about being gay.
Absolutely.
And that was something that happened after the movie was written, so.
Yeah, strangely enough.
Yeah.
So if, as I expect, this sort of breaks the dam, because having, again, this sort of an opportunity to tell the story with all these folks attached sort of raises the profile, what other stories do you want to see? Do you want to keep telling more LGBTQ, stories? Is that something you're thinking about?
I'm done. I think Bros really tells the whole story. No, Bros is just the beginning. We're lucky to be coming in the middle of a wave of LGBTQ films and streaming series, and Bros is part of that. And I think what's so cool is that we're finally getting to tell our own stories, play our own roles, which historically hasn't happened very often. And yeah, I want movies like Bros about all the different people in the LGBTQ community. It's a very eclectic community, a very diverse culture, and everyone should get the opportunity to be at the center of the story. My next movie that I'm writing is kind of the opposite of Bros. I'm writing a movie with Paul Rudnick called Ex-Husbands. It's like a gay War of the Roses about a gay divorce.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see that.
So we're in the early stages. Luke, you can audition. So yeah, I think we're at a time when we should be telling all different types of stories, and a time when we don't have to only tell stories about LGBTQ people that are tragic and about the struggle of being gay, which is often what Hollywood has done, instead of just making movies that are funny and joyful about us.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the time. Congratulations on a really fun movie. I can't wait for people to see it.
Thank you so
very
much.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Sure.